The Intergalactic Law Enforcement Unit, renowned for capturing smugglers, warlords, and even rebel leaders, had dealt with countless criminals across the galaxy. But this time, they apprehended something far more mundane, or so they thought. An elderly human man, found wandering alone on a remote planet in the neutral zone, was detained during a routine patrol. The majestic Vekthar officers expected the arrest to be straightforward. After all, to them, humans were inconspicuous, fragile, weak, and short-lived. The old man was taken aboard the high-security warship Vekthar, his hands bound as he silently entered the holding cell. The ship's crew barely spared him a second glance, seeing only a wrinkled, frail figure past his prime. But during interrogation, he began to speak in unsettlingly cryptic phrases. Captain Ya, clearly irritated, barked questions at him. The old man simply smiled, took a seat, and remained silent, forcing the captain to narrow his eyes. "What were you doing, wandering around out there in a restricted zone?" the captain demanded. James shrugged casually. "Just taking a walk." The captain scowled. "We scanned the area. No ships, no beacons. There's no way you could have arrived there on foot. Who are you?" The old man's smile only widened, his silence dragging on uncomfortably, filling the room with an air of tension. Hours passed as the Vekthar officers grew increasingly frustrated, bombarding him with questions and even threats. But James remained calm, almost amused, as if he knew something they didn't. Then, strange things began happening aboard the Xelon. Security systems started emitting flickering lights, doors malfunctioned, and communication lines vanished. The crew thought it was a glitch, until the malfunctions became relentless. Cameras in the holding cell flickered before cutting out entirely. When they finally came back online, they captured an unsettling sight. James standing at the center of his cell, staring directly into the camera, smiling. "What is he doing?" the captain muttered, his unease growing. Soon after, the crew realized something was gravely wrong. When they went to move James, the ship's external weapon systems unexpectedly activated, turning inward to target the Xelon itself. As alarms blared, James turned to his guards and said calmly, "You might want to let me go." As panic swept through the crew, security feeds showed drones lighting up outside the ship, and every control system began falling under an unknown force. The officers rushed to the bridge, where they discovered every console had been commandeered by this mysterious power. Meanwhile, James strolled through the ship's corridors, unscathed, as if the vessel obeyed his every command. When alien officers tried to stop him, doors slammed shut in their faces, gravity shifted, or systems failed, leaving them stranded and helpless. When he finally arrived on the bridge, the captain awaited him, weapon drawn, hands shaking. "Who are you?" the captain demanded, voice trembling. James glanced around, a glimmer of amusement in his eyes. "You detained me without knowing who I was. That was your first mistake." The captain tightened his grip. "Who are you?" The old man sighed. "I'm retired, remember? But I used to be an admiral with Earth's Special Warfare Division. My job was dismantling operations like yours." Legends of Earth's Special Operations Unit were notorious, though many dismissed them as myths. Those who survived the galactic wars were rumored to possess unmatched tactical genius and strategic prowess. Some even claimed Earth's Admiral could paralyze entire armies with minimal resources. The captain swallowed hard. "How are you controlling this ship?" he whispered. James chuckled softly. "Let's say I have friends, old systems that recognize me. As for your ship, it's not as secure as you thought." Just then, the Xelon's engines roared, and navigation went offline for the crew. James strolled to the captain's console, pressed a few buttons, and the entire vessel changed course, heading directly for the nearest Vekthar command center. Calmly, James spoke, his voice carrying an unmistakable authority. "Return me to where you found me. If you refuse, I'll take the ship down, crashing into your base and destroying half your fleet." The captain stammered, sweat beading on his brow. You wouldn't dare." James took a step closer, his eyes sharp and dangerous. "Try me." In defeat, the Xelon's crew redirected their course, taking James back to the desolate planet where they had found him. As the old man calmly stepped into the wilderness, the Vekthar crew watched in disbelief. An unarmed man with no visible technology or backup had hijacked their prized warship. As the Zealon retreated, one officer turned to the still-shaken captain. "What do we do now?" The captain stared into the empty void where James had disappeared, his voice a low whisper. "We never speak of this again.